Hello, Kate. I was looking at your introduction and I like your first sentence. It's a nice way to get it started. It doesn't sound like a repetition of the prompt, so that's good. And I like the distinction you draw between the shelter being beneficial, as it is described in Barred Owl, or negative, as it is shown in the history teacher. I'm not sure that last sentence does anything for you. There's really no good reason to list the poetic devices that you're going to talk about in your essay. It's more effective to be even more clear about the perspective that Wilbur is making, the point that Wilbur is making, the point that Collins is making. So I don't know that that last sentence does you any good. I'm going to pause it and take a look at your body paragraphs. Good. I think you got the point. And I think that the examples that you have support the point that you were trying to make about a barred owl being positive and the history teacher being negative. Organizationally, it's a little messy. Your first body paragraph here starts out by comparing the two, and then the rest of the body paragraph is about a barred owl. And then you go on to the history teacher in the next paragraph. So perhaps a stronger or a different topic sentence here, a different way into this would be useful. You do not need to indicate line numbers. That's not necessary. And sometimes it's a waste of time. So don't worry about that in the timed writings that you do from now on. And I like your use of short little quotes. This quote is a little bit less short. The children would leave the classroom for the playground to torment the weak and the smart. I think that there are ways that you could have used just a snippet from that particular line or those particular lines in order to make your point more quickly, more succinctly. So organizationally, maybe not as well thought out as it should be on where you should go, but your examples are pretty good. Let me take a look at the conclusion. Okay, you took AP language because you're making a universal connection. That is not what we do in literature. You do not need that. Children are just as much human as anybody else. Irrelevant. Everything in this essay needs to be about the poetry, not about things outside the poetry. So be really careful about that. Don't waste your time on universal connections. Also, up here where you have I believe, this is why we tell students not to use first person when they're writing, because obviously it's your essay. Of course you believe it. You could just say both poems show. When you're using first person this way, it's ineffective. First person in general, okay. This way, not good. Other than that, your essay makes, or your conclusion makes your essay sound finished. And ultimately that's what it is that you're trying to do with these. Probably a 6 on this essay. Organizationally, you struggle a little bit. I think if your organization were tighter, if you had topic sentences that were intentional about what the support in that paragraph was going to be and how the support in that paragraph was going to support your position, I think it would be a lot more effective. But overall, a 6.